Good evening, everyone. My name is Gulshan Memoria. I'm the CEO and founder of Inspiredvalley, which is a personal growth training organization based at New Delhi. Every week, we connect with the best minds in the educational world to discuss some of the key topics that will add value to the student's life. And we take different topics every week. This week, we have a topic of preparing students for the future. What skills, knowledge do they need? And we have many speakers around the globe. The very first speaker that we have is Miss Jaya. She is the executive principal of the Apple International School, Dubai. Next, we have is Mr. Tushar Yerpude. He is the principal of Meritorious School, Tirora. Next, we have Miss Smitha Parambath. She is the principal of NSK International School, Pandalam. We have another speaker, Miss Mukta Sharma. She is the academic consultant and trainer. And we have also Mr. Narender Kumar. He is the PGD Physics at Birla Public School, Pilani. He is also NCERT counselor. We welcome you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Tushar sir, I will ask you that question and let's start our journey together. Tushar sir, how can a school and the teachers encourage the development of creativity and innovation in their students? And why it is important for their future success?
I will give you the brief of it.
Sure, sir.
What I believe, most of the things what we learn, actually, what we knew now, it is not from our classroom. It is out of the wall of our classroom when we learn the things. So I believe in my school that the concept was very old. It's a flipped classroom, but I add one simple word into that. What is flipped classroom according to me? Homework in school and classwork at home. So this simple strategy I use for creativity, a simple creation. Next, I believe I basically called people, those who are nearby locality, uh, real life example, giving them the real life example. It's not important that I call a big entrepreneur or a big businessman. I called a simple a person who is having a welding shop,
Okay.
a person who is having a big supermarket in my locality. I called them in my school
Okay.
to give their real struggle and example, how they learn, what they learn, and which kind of creativity they did in their business. Because ultimately, we knew about Steve Jobs, we knew about Reliance, we knew about Adani, but we don't know the people, those who are very near to us, how they developed themselves.
So
So
that they
I
can
think that,
connect with their
yeah.
audience actually.
Ha. Then I simply believe that take risk, and we sometimes it's okay you have to be fail on that particular part. Ultimately, you will learn something.
This is
So
wonderful.
this strategy I used. There are a number of things I used, but I think others can.
Sure, sure, sure. I
I'll
would
add.
love to have views with Miss Mukta. Mukta ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Mukta ma'am, I'm sure that in the past couple of years or maybe 10, 20 years, you have done thousands of teachers training program, right? And I'm sure that you must have discussed this idea with a lot of teachers. So I'm sure that you can bring a lot of knowledge to this topic. So how the school and the teachers can bring more innovation and creativity in the students with respect to the current scenario.
Right. So that's a very interesting question that you put across, Gulshan. And every time we answer, we learn something new on this also. Our own thought process, our interaction with others teach us a lot. As far as creativity or innovation is concerned, if we are expecting creativity and innovations in our students, first is we need to, demonstrate it as a teacher. Am I, as a teacher who's a role model in the classroom, is she creative or does she accept creativity? Most of the time in our classroom, the approach that we adapt is more of, it's a once shoe size fit all. We want everybody to be kind of, trained the same way. And if a child put across a question which is different than the other, we are not able to accept this as such. So, as teachers, we do not do that. So, if we can encourage our teachers to respect kid who responds differently, it may not
Exactly.
be the same as what we want them to do. First, accept it and then think of it how you can utilize it. So, in the classroom, if a teacher can nurture curiosity, it's very important that she should be able to nurture. Humans are born curious.
Exactly.
Our innate ability is to be creative, and curiosity is there within us. However, our school systems very gradually kills it. Instead of owning it, we end up killing it because we are expecting same thing from a class of 40 students. Every child should behave the same way. Every child should learn the same thing. So, if we are following or we want it that way, obviously we are not respecting creativity. So, the first is you should respect individuality.
Exactly.
The second is provide lot of opportunities for the kids to show their creativity or to hone their creativity. Say, for example, as a teacher, I should reflect frequently. Am I able to accept an answer firstly, or create an opportunity wherein the responses of the students would be different? It could be as simple, say, for example, if we think of it when we ask our kids to write an essay on school. There are 10, 15 sentences that we want them to write. All the kids who are lazy grade 1 or so. Okay, I love my school. My school has playground. My school has this. My school has that. And they're like specified responses that we want. Now, if a child says, I don't want to come to school because I have to get up early in the morning. I would love to have a school wherein I can come and go anytime I feel like. Okay? Instead of reprimanding the child, if we try to accept it first because the child has thought differently than the other kids have thought, and naturally, I'm sure all of us would like to have, that okay, theek hai, kabhi bhi aaye, kabhi bhi gaye. But that's not how things work. So
Exactly.
first we need to accept it and then show the reason why is it not feasible. Then probably we are respecting the individual thought process also, and then we are addressing that. So that would be the
That's
second
wonderful.
thought. There could be lot many things that I can
I'm
talk about,
sure. I'm
but
sure.
first we let others
This,
also share
this
their.
reminds me. This reminds me is one of the activity which I've conducted in one of the schools, where I asked the teachers to draw a picture, to draw a scenery or anything like picture.
It's
The next,
same
the same. There's one
because
sun.
that's what we've learned.
Yes, one waterfall, one jhopdi. That's it. Almost out of 40 teachers, 38 made the same thing. So, in order to imbibe the creativity and innovation, first of all, you need to understand that we need to do something differently. Till the time we will not imbibe this habit, we cannot have it. Jay ma'am, I would like to have your views on this. I'm sure that you have experience with the international kids. Like you have multiple regions, and there are a lot of different identities who come to the school. So, how's the pedagogy in your school, and how you imbibe the innovation and creativity? Please.
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. I'm really fortunate to be discussing this topic with like minded people, so thank you for this opportunity. A very valid question that we are discussing creativity and innovation because we are preparing children. Today's generation, while we are preparing the students, we are preparing them for the future where we don't even know whether those jobs even exist now. Um,
Exactly.
so so, so in order to, I can hear myself. That's why I'm a bit. Am I
It's
audible?
absolutely, you are audible. Please, please carry on.
Okay, but I can hear an echo. All right. So, as I just mentioned, that we are preparing kids for jobs which have not yet been discovered, perhaps. If we put them, categorize them, we tell them and train them in the same way as we ourselves have been trained in the past, we will not be doing justice to them at all. So we have to let them be creative, let them be themselves. And I'm fortunate to be working with a group of students who come from across the world. My school is like a melting pot. It has around 69 nationalities of children and teachers studying here, working here with us. So they all learn from each other. So collaboration and cooperation is something very, very important in the ethos of the school that I lead. And creativity just happens. If you
Exactly.
make the children um, resilient, if you make the children be tolerant towards each other, and I'm very fortunate that the school is in a country where the leaders are visionary, and this country believes in tolerance. So automatically we prepare our children to be tolerant to each other, then obviously creativity, innovation just follows. So that's the most important thing. If you let the teachers, don't compartmentalize the children and the teachers into set patterns, let them be themselves. If leaders, educational leaders like us, we allow the children and the teachers to be themselves and to do what they do best, then I'm sure creativity and innovation
There's a lot
is
of thing
just
can
the
be
opposite.
done. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. Naren sir, do you want to add any point? I request everyone, if you're not speaking, just put yourself on mute because sometimes the voice is coming back to us. Just one request, yes. Yeah, Naren sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
yeah.
Really, the way the Tushar sir has started, he, the school work at the home and the home at the school. So really, sir, a drastic change is required, and the Mukta ma'am focused have a wide experience that teachers need to be changed and to be trained. And in this present situation where we are working and the environment, really, we are the core member because we are directly dealing with the school children, and these children really needs a lot of things from already these electronic gadgets, and they have a lot of impact on the neurological aspect of the brain aspect of the students, where they have a digital addictions, and ultimately when they are come into the classroom, so they feel bored. They are not even engaged by the teacher most of the times, and sorry to say that we all are responsible for this purpose. So how we make the concept more interested, how to connect the real experiences with the classroom. So pedagogy plays a very important role. Even extra co-curricular activities which the JMM focused very briefly, that some innovative clubs like we also have started the digital DCIM club, where internet maturity students, they know at least what are the etiquettes on the online platform, because all these make some mixing in their brain, and ultimately student come to the real experiences, so they perform accordingly, because decision making skill, collaborative, which we are talking, the student gain Gulshan sir from their classroom itself. Even I told you today was the last day of the exam, and I was busy in the evaluation work of the CBSE. So I got a call from my student that, sir, today is the last day, and I want to meet you. I told him meet in the evening. No, no, sir, I'm not alone. It's a group of students, so that is the connectivity with the students needs a lot of emphasis.
That's wonderful.
So
That's
yes, yes, Gulshan sir, please continue.
as there are a lot of changes are happening in current world. As you can see, the Chat GPT, the Google Brat, a lot of new
Yeah, yeah,
innovation,
yeah.
things are happening on daily basis. And even lot of time for us also, being an entrepreneur and being totally full time working as a trainer, sometimes it becomes very hard for us also to imbibe all the changes, right? To be with the current trend, right? Because a lot of things are happening. So with the students, let's come to the next question. Mukta ma'am, I want to ask you this thing. Like many experts predict that artificial intelligence and automation will drastically changes the job market in the coming years, and we all know this thing. So how can we prepare the students to work alongside this technology as take advantage of the new opportunities? Over to you. You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you so much for asking this question. Yes, artificial intelligence or any technological tools these days will change the job market. But this is a scenario which has existed all the time. After all, we all are living in a VUCA world, which is volatile, it is uncertain, it is about complex, and there is ambiguity there. So, technology is very dynamic, it's changing at every minute. So
Exactly.
whatever technology we teach today may or may not be relevant 10 or 15 years down the line till the time the child is going to be with us. So now what matters, when knowledge is available at the click of a button, it is not important. I mean, knowledge is of course required, but more important thing is how to apply knowledge, because knowledge anybody can get at any point of time. Even if I hadn't studied history in my school days, today if I need any historical information, I can access it. It's available to me.
Exactly.
So it is not about knowledge, it is about how you apply that knowledge. So in our kids, if we can give them a skill set for being an independent learner, because yes, you can't learn everything while you're in the school. On the job learning is a must. I mean, you can't survive without that, right?
Exactly.
So yes, all of us need to keep learning. So on the job learning, so the child has to be independent learner. The child's curiosity needs to be nurtured. The person has to show agility. You cannot be rigid that, okay, I did it that way, it worked for me, and so it's going to work now also. Something that
Exactly.
worked earlier. I'm reminded of a quotation which says that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So, practically, it is this attitude that we need to give to our students. We need to give them the opportunity to. Independent learning doesn't happen automatically. We need to build that skill, right? So as a teacher, am I conscious that in my classroom have I identified a few concepts which I know the kids can learn on their own, and in the class only the consolidation happen. As somebody talked about flip learning, this is what flip learning is all about. The kids will learn on their own, and in the class they would share their learning, and the consolidation of learning happens.
Exactly.
So those are the practices that would firstly lead you to independent learners, and secondly the attitude of being agile, attitude of being flexible. This is what, so when we say it is these key competencies, what we say, we need to focus on building collaborative learning skills in the
Exactly.
child. And for all these, we won't have a separate period. We need to integrate it within the
Exactly.
academic
The same thing
context,
mentioned, same thing is
whatever
mentioned
is
by Jaya ma'am
happening.
also.
Yeah, all right. So that is what is required, that you need to focus on all these aspects of communication, collaboration, critical thinking.
So all this
Then,
is an ongoing thing, and where we need the
yes.
human interventions,
And the
right?
teachers need to be conscious about it, that right now, because especially in India, by and large, we all chase marks. Every school is assessed by the quantity of the result that they produce. How many toppers have they given? How many students have full this marks? So
It's a sad
till the time
story.
we keep chasing numbers, we will have kids who will just rote memorize and vomit it out. We will not be able to have a critical thinker. We will not be able to have a creative thinker. So we need to work on our assessment as to what we need to assess. So we need to think about it. We all are talking about these key competencies of character, citizenship, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and
There are many
creative
things can
thinking.
be covered up. This reminds me of one
Right.
of the example, Mukta ma'am. You have rightly said. This reminds me one of the incident. Like after 10th standard, the students need to take their different streams, either PCM or PCB or commerce, different streams. But mostly people they go for science stream because this is the market which they have seen. Everyone is projecting like this way. For an example, if we take the example of PCB, like everyone is going towards the NEET examination, preparing for the NEET examination. Last year, 18.5 lakh students gave the NEET examination. This is a small data which I'm presenting to you. 18.5 lakh students gave the NEET examination. Mainly, predominantly, their focus was on NEET exam, right? They're not focusing on the other things, and only 40 to 50,000 seats are there in government and semi-government institutions.
Right.
Moreover, everyone is focusing on getting into the aims. Only 7 aims are we have in the country, and only 700 seats are there. So if we take the probability that comes out to be 700 seats out of 18.5 lakh, what about
Right.
those students, or like 17 lakh students, those were left out? So there's a lot to be done, not just the PCM, but there are a lot to be done in the other areas as well. Rightly said.
And again, if we give them, as we mentioned, if we give them a set of being agile, right? The child may be appearing for NEET exam due to parental pressure or peer pressure, not because of his or her own choice.
And
However, if the child is even doing it for his or her own choice and child doesn't end up clearing the exam, so that emotional maturity, that fine, I gave my best, I didn't get it, what next? So
exactly.
prepare for that, find out certain options. So that's how those attitude of being agile and
Wonderfully,
flexible would help. Yeah.
wonderfully summarized. Samita ma'am, I would love to have your views on this. So how your school is taking care of all the changes and what all the development your school is taking care of. You need to unmute yourself, please.
Sure, if thank you for the opportunity, and it's my honor to be here in this platform with the other people. So, very good evening, everyone. So,
Could you?
regarding the artificial intelligence, as Ms. Mukta was focusing on, it's really what the students have to have that creativity and innovative mindset to come forward and do the things. But yes, teachers need to be the facilitators. We need to foster that skills in the children to come up with this imbibing of this artificial intelligence. Actually, this helps to develop the competencies and experiences of the students as well as the teachers, because this is a new concept for them as well. But this really focused towards the 21st, one of the 21st century skills which the young generation should have in their hands. Actually, this is not a learning experience. What I feel, this is something what uh, learning through happiness, or learning through creativity, or learning through innovation. In our school, yes, we facilitate these activities with the teachers and the children, those who wanted to join in this particular clubs, and yes, fostering their skills in that, so that they when they come out, they becomes well equipped to meet up any challenges and look at from different perspective and come into a common decision, which we all look from the youngsters.
वंडरफुल. अच्छा, कभी कभी ये भी चीज़ होती है, लेट मी पुट इट दिस क्वेश्चन, दिस वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग विच बहुत बार माइंड में आता भी है. जैसे मार्केट चलती है, मार्केट में ऐसे इन 2020 एवरी वन वाज फोकसिंग ऑन कोडिंग, राइट? वो क्या एक कंपनी था, क्या नाम था उनका, वाइट हेड जूनियर, दैट एवरी वन वर्स उस टाइम पर. अगर आपका बच्चा कोडिंग नहीं कर रहा है तो कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, राइट? सो देन एंड नाउ ये हैपनिंग्स होती रहती हैं. फिर अभी राइट नाउ देयर इज़ नो वे कोई कोडिंग की बात नहीं कर रहा है. एवरी वन इज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट सम डिफरेंट थिंग्स. अब कुछ और मैथमेटिक्स को किस तरीके से सीखा जाए, तो मार्केट भी कभी कभी बहुत डिफरेंट तरीके से रोल प्ले करती है हमारी साइकी को डेवलप करने के लिए. So how school should be prepared कि not to fall on this trap and to take care of all the decisions right here in the school and taking care of all these activities like to the, because parents बहुत जल्दी परेशान हो जाते हैं. उनको लगता है कि यार अभी कोडिंग नहीं करा रहा स्कूल, एवरीबडी इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द कोडिंग, अभी स्कूल ये डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज़ नहीं करा रहा. व्हाट अबाउट दीज एक्टिविटीज़? सो वी लव टू हैव दिस व्यूज़. तुषार सर प्लीज़ अनम्यूट. तुषार सर अनम्यूट. या
Thank you, sir. Actually, Mukta ma'am and Smitha ma'am just told about that artificial intelligence. Even sometime I search on the chat GPT what to do next, and I gave a number of things in the same like in Women's Day. I search simply. I search. Even I got like which event I should do. A new event on the occasion
on
of
Women's
Women's
Day.
Day. I got a number of things. That is one answer. But yeah, even what I believe in COVID, we saw like in between the COVID, everyone want like maybe the next education or we will teach the student only through online. But
Exactly.
student they feel bored after a month.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
ultimately, what was the missing part? That human touch was the missing part. Connectivity was there, but human touch was the missing part. So the same thing, which I believe, like just my starting comment, I gave you that answer. Why I'm calling the different people to my class school? I'm basically everyone want that their child or their ward should get a good job, or he or she can earn in a good digit.
Exactly.
That is the only one criteria everyone is having. So when I called them to my school, I basically giving them this question. You have to inform them how much you are earning. And they when they said like I'm earning in 7 digit, I'm earning in 8 digit. So people like students, they more attracts toward this kind of job. Like even I gave most of the example, like a very simple example. Like now we have it's more of the chance are there in the MP. I searched it on Google, like chai chai bar and chai shutta bar. It's very common scenario now. You can simply start this business as well. No need to study a lot about NEET or JEE all the time,
Exactly.
because there are the students only. Even I believe only two or three students they are more curious about this kind of JEE or NEET or other. But 95% student, they are not able to crack the JEE or NEET in our actual classroom. So
Exactly.
for them, what to do? So for them, there are number of things. Like even in case if you are good in stand-up comedian, go through it. If you good in if you are good sketch like artist, go. Good in singing, go. There are number of platforms are available nowadays. Basic thing remain. We have to give them the chance in the schooling day, and everyone we are giving. But at the same, after that, what next? Like a child is a good singer.
Huh.
He is very good singer. It's okay in school days. But what after 10th?
Exactly, yes.
He
It has
never
happened, sir.
practiced.
This happened. If I talk about it in my personal experience, for an example, take JMM school. JMM school's parents are much more aware than the parents of Tirora. Don't take it otherwise, because I've visited Tirora. It's a small town in near Nagpur, the Nagpur NCR region, I would rather say. So their mentality, because their outweigh is IIT, their outweigh is AIMS, their outweigh is a prominent college where they can secure a seat, not this stand-up comedian where there's nothing to fall back. So again, this demographic advantage also play a very bigger role when making their decisions, right? Smitha ma'am, please share your views. You wanted to add something?
Yes, I would like to add with what Mr. Tushar was sharing with us. We practice this project and place based learning for the students. This is actually to develop the skills to work independently or collaboratively to come up with some essential questions. You know, our children are always curious to ask some questions if we put some different situations or scenarios to them. So this actually this project as well as the place, we have to decide a separate place, maybe outside the country or within the country, some rural villages, or take them to some innovative places which promotes the curiosity, critical thinking, and creativity as well as problem solving. And this actually enhances the learning potential of each and every child. We have seen that the students, those who were very quiet in the classrooms, when we take them to the fields or when we take them to some different places based on the projects, we can see them interacting with a lot of smile and a lot of queries. This actually makes these learning a different experience, and also helps the children to understand the cultural differences between
Exactly.
their house, between their families, between the peers, or between the place where they have been. So these skills we can easily incorporate into the school system by little thought process among ourselves.
That's
We
wonderful.
being the
This
educator.
reminds me of Narender sir word. What he mentioned that in the starting that he had a very good connection with the students, right? So in order to imbibe all these skills, first of all you need to have that connection with the students, and unless it will not take place, right? JMM, you wanted to add your point, please.
I just wanted to pick up on what Mr. Tushar was saying, that he invites people from the wider community to his school for children to learn. Similarly, here also we have a program called Meet a Pro. So, meet a professional. And this Meet a Pro usually happens in schools for the older children, where people come and give them talk or tell them how it would be if I have to become anything in the future ahead. But in my school, we do it at a young age, even in the foundation stage. Foundation stage means KG. Even for KG students, we might invite a parent who's a photographer. Okay, and then this parent would actually go ahead, take the children, show them a very basic photography skills, because children here all have gadgets, all have mobiles, all have devices. So with the help of this, we try and channelize these skills of children in the positive direction, rather than use the devices only for play or for things like that. So this really helps us. And to add to what Miss Smitha was just now mentioning about learning from different scenarios. So here in Dubai, we don't have the natural beauty in, for example, mountains and rivers. All that, mountains are there, but in the outskirts, but there's no river. And so things like this, which children really don't know, we create small gardens because we don't have soil. So we have to create small gardens in the school. So things like that. And we take the children out into the garden and teach them. For example, if there are some difficult languages, although the medium of communication is English because children are from different nationalities, and yet we try and teach them in the real scenarios. It's here children have not seen, they are not exposed to all those things with children in India. So we feel children in India are much more in an advantageous position, because here children live more in closed houses, and they don't have those same kind of facilities, because it's very important for children to see both sides. If everything is given to them on a platter, they are not able to adjust very well in the future. So we try our best to give them those opportunities where they do hands-on things, and that's how we believe in giving them life skills rather than only the scores in the board exams. That is what we
JMM, people
focus
in
on.
India think that the people who live in Dubai, they have better opportunities.
Not at all. I'm very proud of my origin and my the way I have studied, and that's the reason why I've been able to have this school, which has a very strong foundation. We have around 4,000 plus children studying in the school that I lead.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Smita ma'am, you wanted to add your point, please?
Yes, I would like to share some experience when I worked as a teacher during the initiative stages of my career with Qatar. So that was an Indian school. Yes, as Jaya ma'am was telling, facilities of this taking outdoor was very less. But there, the Qatar is organized. They always think differently. I feel now also, but they have organized one competitions for the school students as well as the other professionals, and it was quite open. That was called as CAFCO, where the scraps or waste of the vegetables are collected and they turn that into beautiful landscapes or some pictures or animals or some birds, whatever. So many projects were created with this. So if the opportunities are less, yes, teachers or the authorities or the educators can look forward to find out some opportunities for the children and bring their creativity outside, which is very mandatory for the
Which
future.
is the need of the time, I believe. As Tushar sir has mentioned the human touch, which comes to the next question to Jaya ma'am. Jaya ma'am, this question is what role should social and emotional learning play in preparing the students for the future? And how can we ensure the student develop the resilience, empathy, and self awareness necessary for the students in all areas of their life?
I think it's very, very important that students move away from the rote learning method, or the traditional things that when we were students, what we were learning, and the skills that were being imparted to us as students is completely different from what is required by the present generation. So it's very important that besides educating them, besides imparting knowledge, you see children, the first or the primary source of information for children, unfortunately, is internet, right? It is there at the click of a button. So we as educators have the responsibility to tell them very clearly what is that they have to absorb, what is that they have to ignore, and what is that they should take it forward in their future. So it's very important that we give them, or we train them in life skills such as resilience, empathy, or anger management, or things like this. Because pandemic for sure has taught us one thing: it's very important to be agile, it's very important to be resilient, and empathy, isn't it? So I think as educators, the most important thing that we should be able to teach the children is to be able to be tolerant to each other, especially a place where the school I lead is in. It's very, very important to be tolerant towards each other, because the children come from different backgrounds. They are multi cultural, multinational. So tolerance, empathy, resilience. As teachers or as educators, we must teach the children it's okay to fail. We should not put pressure on them and say that no, all of you should get A star or A plus, or however it is. And not only the students, if we want to assure the students that it is okay to fail, we have to first teach the parents this. So as leaders of the school, it is very important that we educate even the parent community and explain to them why getting A stars. Yeah, of course, academic excellence is really very important, but along with academic excellence is also required a well balanced global citizen. So that is what we have to develop, rather than focus only on academic excellence. So
Exactly,
for me,
exactly.
I think it's extremely important to develop the core competencies as well as the skills: agility, resilience, and empathy, because only then we'll be able to nurture children in the right direction.
This is wonderfully, wonderfully summarized. And after listening to your ways, I come to this not just conclusion but summarization. There's a lot to be done at the school level, and all the things will be done through the teachers. I'm sure that the leader, the principal, play a very vital role in doing all the things, but the teachers should be trained in a more efficient manner. So, would like to have some views from Miss Mukta, because she is a trainer and she has trained, I mean, I'm sure the thousands of teachers. So how you teach teachers to be trained on these things, because unless they'll not be trained on these things, these skills, they cannot imbibe this into the students. Yeah, Mukta ma'am, over to you.
Yeah. So, it's in service professional development of the teachers has to be a mandatory activity, wherein a workshop is just the beginning, not the end. Now, since everybody is talking about in service, we do have in service a lot of workshops, not only by CBSE, but lot many other organizations. But
Exactly.
finally, what happens is it's the end of it. Teachers attend workshop, they complete the number of hours, trainer trains them, then the trainer is on their own way, and the teachers are on their own in the classroom the way they were earlier. Because probably we feel that since we've done the workshop, we've been now trained. But on ground implementation or the takeaways of the workshop, how well they goes into the classroom transaction matters a lot. And all the stakeholders, right from the management to the school heads and teachers, everybody needs to make sure that the takeaways of any session are to be there for that should lead to some kind of classroom improvisation. That's first part of it. Secondly, one needs to also then keep track of that workshop is not the only way to train teachers. Other professional development interventions like action research, case studies, and all needs to be encouraged within the teaching community. The teachers who are doing that needs to be acknowledged for the efforts that they are putting in, and it is then when we will have the teachers who are well developed. And a lot their own emotional intelligence also matters. If a teacher herself doesn't have a high emotional intelligence, the chances are that while dealing with the students, she or he would have some or the other time when they will themselves break down in the class, which is not the right approach, or they would lose their own. I mean, you are attending a workshop on anger management, but when a child puts you in a difficult situation, you lose your temper. That's not how it works. The kids are bound to put you in a situation which might get embarrassing, which might be difficult for you. Maybe it has got something to do with your behavior, maybe it has got something to do with the knowledge base or the power tussle, especially when we talk of adolescent. Power tussle is an inevitable thing. It happens, the kids want to take control of the class from the teacher. Now, get into that haggling, it doesn't help. You should be smart enough to make sure that you're able to get your ways done. So those kind of strategies we need to teach to the teacher, how she or he can build good student teacher relationship and the classroom management. When
Exactly.
these things are in place, the teachers will be able to handle the class effectively.
Effectively.
And
And it's
yes,
a continuous
hmm,
process, I would rather say.
and plus, I would say, even for the assessment purposes, currently, when we do the assessment, it is only for the academic achievement that the child has had. Whereas, if the assessment also starts focusing on other aspect, probably it leads to a holistic development of the child, and not just focusing on academic. So that's where we all need to work on. Some systemic changes are required, wherein we start looking at assessment with a different perspective, because whatever said and done, if the assessment is only going to be pen and paper based, and it is the board result performance of the student and the school per se which will define how the school is good or bad, so automatically would be chasing everyone would be chasing
Chasing the
numbers.
numbers. Yes.
Right.
Go on other
So
days,
where
I
that
believe. Yeah.
assessment pattern or what to assess definitely need to change. Both need to change. So then once our assessment is in place, I'm sure all our instructional strategies and the content planning would be in place. So
So wonderfully
that's about
summarized.
the tell.
Thank you, Mukta ma'am, for sharing such wonderful views. Yeah, Naren sir, you wanted to add your point, please?
Really, ma'am, Mukta ma'am, slowly you have touched that area which need to be discussed in today's class. That is assessment. Assessment is a very important core part of every, even today we all six are here, so at least we come to one conclusion. Okay, what is the output learning for today's class for the viewers only? Because once they are in our class, so at least they know what are the skills required by the students. So assessment for learning, assessment of learning, where we have to prepare the rubrics. Even we feel we because it's a education system, and in slowly in different part of the country of the globe, we are putting all these at the corners where we are preparing the concept of the design thinking, where in the classroom we give some task to the students, and other group will access their work, how they have performed. So in the similar way, it somehow come to the 360-degree approach from the teachers and also. So when we're talking about the out of box thinking, ma'am, sir, so really students needs to be involved, and when they are getting involved in of the activity, I told in one of my physics class that tomorrow we will make something there with one very low cost device at your home, at least three basic principle of the physics to be explained. And you can't imagine student will bring a lot of things from the kitchen, from the houses, from their whatever they, and they start thinking the first principle this, and then that zone of that proximal development start increasing, and ultimately they think beyond that we can apply this. And when the other group will see, so they also add one more principle. So oh, from it not only one, but we can explain five physics principle from this. And this is the experience and learning out of after the 4 years. Students don't know how to solve the numerical problem, but they know what they have done on that particular class. So that skill is required by the student. True, sir.
That's wonderful, wonderful, sir. Tushar sir, you wanted to add your point, please? Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I wish to add with the Narendra sir and Mukta ma'am. He touched the word assessment. Actually, all CBSEs already work on it. But before assessment, it is called we have to train teachers differentiated learning. If differentiated learning will be there, no need to change the assessment pattern, because we all know that every child is unique, every child is different, all are unique. The story we everyone knows that. But that's why I basically we have to change some simple word, like previously we use problem solving, we use problem solving method. Now scenario is changed, we have to use problem finding method. So very just change the word, you will get just sir give that same answer. Like he has just three principle, he got 6. So you have to ask the question to the students. They will solve your all doubts. Even what I believe, like in my case, I took near about every month council meeting. I have a very simple answer for that. Every Because it's not possible to meet each and every child every day or quarterly. So I took a monthly meeting with council members. Hardly 10 to 15 minutes. Agenda was clearly defined to them. This is the agenda. You have to deal on this point. And uh, at the beginning, I gave them the point, like, this is my finding. You have to give me the answer. And you don't believe, after fifth meeting, now students are giving me the problem. So this is the problem of the school, and it's not about individual problem. It was very clearly said, no, no, don't discuss individual. It should be a school problem, or it should be a your complete class problem. So they are and they are giving the answer. Means now I don't want answers from outside. Now answers are given them. So
So
very
you have
simple.
created a very conductive environment where everyone is
Yeah,
participating
very
and everyone is
it's
learning
through that
through the process only.
like take each and every matter from there, and what is going on in class, who is who is your favorite, who is not, why, each and everything. Within that 15 minutes, I get each and everything. So I basically use this method: problem solving and finding, both from the students.
From the students. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
Narendra, I want to ask you this question. It's a very important question, which I believe, and this is an open question for everyone. And after this, then we will end this webinar. So the question is: with so many competing priorities in education, right? So how we can ensure that we are preparing the students for the future while also addressing the immediate needs and challenges?
Really, sir, what we have discussed right now, which the Tushar sir focused on the differentiated learning. Really, every child has a different need, and we as a educator have to prepare accordingly. So
Exactly.
when the students comes to the personalized learning, and they have their own the needs has to be fulfilled in the classroom. So really it shows a more interest in the classroom, getting more involved. But we have to take priority on some of the important, for example, the personalized learning, where students face some individual challenges, and we as a educator has to find out the strength and weakness and create a particular learning plan for that child. The important focus in today's class was also there, that is the mental health and the well-being of the student. Even pandemic shows a lot of things, because this is a very very important aspect. The students are facing a lot of challenges. Even sometimes in day to day's newspaper daily we are finding a lot of suicidal and other attempts. So a mental health corner plays a very important role.
Exactly.
This is another resilience and adaptive skill, where we have find some of the times the students are not getting adjusted in the classrooms or in a group of students. Sometimes during the examination they have a lot of pressures. Even in the last 2 months we have find that a lot of students are under pressure because of the parental or the
Exactly. There are
or
many things
own
happen. So there
needs.
are many things happen.
So yes, this
See,
type of
my
skills.
my question, Naren sir, my question was: is this to open to everyone? Smitha ma'am, Jaya ma'am. My question to you is: there are many things which are happening in our country or in the world, across the world, and many things that we need to do in our school. When the parents send the student to the school, they think that everything is to be done by the school, right, at the initial levels, not at the 9th, 10th, 12th standard. So how could the school ensures that we cover almost every possible thing? Because anyhow they have to do it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Simita ma'am, over to you.
Yes, here comes the importance of collaboration. How we collaborate with our parents, with our teachers, with our children, all of them have to come to one point. Yes, the school has organized entrepreneurial uh,
The activity
skills.
workshop, yes.
Yes, activity was conducted where the students were really become a part and parcel, and they have involved themselves and they involved their parents as well, because that was something which all of them did together, and it was a huge success where we could connect this entrepreneurial workshop with the assessment as well. So teachers, the other side, they were giving grades and remarks to the children, and at the same time, children and parents were enjoying this show. And here we could see that even if a child was able to develop the socio emotional learning, because they started connecting with each other with the expectation beyond that we were having. So engaging the children with the projects, they learn to plan the event, they learn to set up a business, they started creating websites and extending their help to the rural areas and villages in order to build up the skills in the underprivileged students. Even they could manage the social medias presence, their presence, by extending different languages like French, German, and all to the students, those who were willing to learn without any cost. So this, I think, collaborative effort from all of the stakeholders of the schools can actually do a lot of things what we expect before that
That's
than we expect, I should say.
that's wonderful. I come to Mukta ma'am, then over to Jaya ma'am, then we will finish it. Yes, Mukta ma'am, please quickly summarize.
Yeah. Adding to what Miss Smitha had said, that yes, collaboration is required. Along with collaboration, especially when we talk of the first time parents, the only child they have and they're in the nuclear family. So, parenting education becomes equally important and becomes a responsibility of the school itself, considering the fact that bringing up the child itself becomes taxing for parents. In our, if we talk of the urban scenario wherein both the parents are working, now
Working.
they have a child, and there is nobody to support these parents at home for raising the child. So sometimes, parent consciously or unconsciously, they impose their expectations on the child and they are being very unrealistic. So in my experience with foundation stage parents, as we were saying, some of the times you would see parents insisting on the child eating everything that they feel the child should eat. Say two chapatis, the child may not be really ready to eat even half a chapati, and it is detrimental when you're forcing the child to finish the food, ignoring his body signal. You are sowing the seed for obesity unconsciously, which parents are not aware of, because the child starts then ignoring his own body signal for hunger or for feeling full, and they keep eating for various reasons. So lot many such issues crop up wherein these young parents need support. So in my opinion, collaboration would work very well. Before that, if we can also educate the
The
parent
parents.
on the basic constructive parenting skills, then the trust and the confidence builds, and then with collaboration you can do wonders.
That's
So that
wonderful.
is what I would like to kind of summarize finally
That's
with
wonderful.
it.
So, Mukta ma'am, you have also given one another responsibility to the schools. Now they have to conduct a lot of
No, but
programs.
some schools are doing it. In fact,
Exactly.
most of the good schools are. I think Jaya would agree. I had been doing that. I was a part of a Canadian school. So we used to do that. I mean, it was a regular practice, either through weekend letter or one meeting in the classroom. And the teachers used to conduct those
So this is
sessions.
the right practice. You have absolutely said correctly. This is the right practice. Perhaps just adding some humor to it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaya ma'am, please. You wanted to add your point?
Besides collaboration and positive parenting, which rightly pointed out, positive parenting workshop is part of our regular CPD programs. Almost twice in a month on Saturdays, we do positive parenting workshops, especially the inclusion department takes the lead in this. But besides that, I also think that every school needs to actually follow the vision and mission. If we stick to the vision and mission of the school and let the vision and mission direct or act as the guiding light for the school to follow the right path, and besides that also set up priorities, set up the short term goals and the long term goals, then definitely parents know, they know what should be expected out of the school,
Exactly.
and that undue pressure on the leaders of the school would not be there, and everybody works in collaboration.
Exactly.
And of course, while setting the vision and mission, we must take the voice of the students, voice of the parents, which we always do. the SWOT analysis of the school. Every year we do the SWOT analysis, which is done with parents, with the wider community. So if we continue to adapt to these practices, I think definitely the parents and the school together would be able to create the most conducive environment, learning environment for the children.
Exactly. So they should be aligned with the vision, the mission of the school, and the statement should be very clear. Mukta ma'am, you wanted to add your point, or should I done? Okay, we are moving to the end of our webinar, and we conduct this rapid fire round. So in this rapid fire, in this rapid fire round, I take some of the suggestions from everyone. So you don't need to explain the length to it. Just give me the point. So the question is how to prepare the student for the future, and you need to give me two suggestions one by one. So I'm giving you 20 seconds to think of it. So you can give me. So this is kind of a very collaborative environment where I am giving you some some chance to think of it, some out of the box thinking methods. Anything then if you think that can help the student to prepare for the future, you can say. So not to explain, just to tell me, okay, can do this thing, and one by one. So first is Miss Jaya, then Tushar sir, Mukta
Teach
ma'am.
them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shall we
thank you.
start?
Teach them resilience, teach them empathy, and teach them agility. If these three values, or rather core skills, we can teach the children, definitely. And I cannot speak more than this, so I'll stop here.
Just
It's
adding
rapid
one more
fire.
thing, how we can teach any activity, particularly for resilience.
For example, we must teach them that challenges and failures are part and parcel of life. So, if the teacher role models in the class, it's okay to fail, then children also adapt to it and they understand that they must try again and it's okay to fail.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tushar sir.
It's you have to provide the sense of purpose and ownership for them.
So there would be a number of activities through which we can. There might be a number of activities through which they can learn. Wonderful. Mukta ma'am.
Again, all the key competencies along with independent learning ability and lifelong learning ability. Because things, it's a dynamic scenario, things keep changing. So, independent learning and lifelong learning is something we must inculcate in the kids.
Wonderful. Narendra sir.
Yes, sir. I thought I was the last one. Then what are the skills left after that? That was finding out. So really, sir, the self-reflection is the key aspect.
Then how we
What
can do that? So self-reflection, any
Yes,
particular
yes.
activity that you do.
At the end of the day, when the student do some of the, for example, he appear for the test, and what are the performance of the student in that test? So they must reflect, sit quietly, in which area I want to perform, which the mem was called SWOT analysis. That is a very important aspect, because after that they get all these resilience, then they also have a emotional intelligence graph high. So personal and professional graph when comes into play at the later on stage, when we are talking about the active learning in their life, so they make them a lifelong learner at that point.
This is wonderfully summarized. Smitha ma'am, over to you.
I would like to say that assessing, assessing, and analyzing the information. Accessing the information is very easy. It is on our fingertips now. But I think we need to equip our children what to select, what not to select to be good citizens for the country, or and so on. So, and how they have to be adaptable to the challenging situation nowadays. Even the companies or the schools works in a different environment, and children are always under pressure. So how to balance their emotions, how to focus on what they actually want, and to find out what is their strength, inner strength, and work on that to get a better life or to be a better citizen.
This is wonderful. I thank you everyone for this wonderful session. This is one of the best sessions that we had so far, and Naren sir can be like वो एक गवाह है इसके सेशन के. I'm sure
Yes, sir. Will definitely.
this is the
First,
most wonderful session which I've had in the past 3 months. I'm not sure what has happened in the entire session, but there's a lot of ideas and the discussion that we had, and I'm sure that all our listeners the principal, teachers, the directors, then who will listen this webinar, they will get a lot of points and they have a lot of things to do. I mean, in their life, in their school, with the students, many things. So, from the entire team of Inspired Valley, I thank you everyone for taking time out and sharing these wonderful views. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.